Hello, and thank you for listening to the second season, first episode. I said that backwards, but we're not going to do it again. Of Got Creeps, your favorite podcast that always makes sure to give you your weekly dose of the weird, mysterious, and creepy. We are your hosts. I'm Don.
And I'm Leilani.
And we're back, motherfuckers.
We're back, bitches. Also, I told him 3-4 times how to say the first episode of the second season of Got Creeps, but he still didn't do it.
And that's how you know we're back, baby.
Back and hopefully better than ever.
Yeah, we got a whole new setup, a whole new place. Everything is different. You can see here. But, you know, brand new beginnings, so we figured this is a perfect time for a season 2. Changing up, kind of how we do things. And, yeah, so let us know what you think about the new style, the new format, if there's anything that you want to see, you want to hear, you want us to do. We plan on doing more things for you guys. To kind of kick everything off, pretty hot topic right now, Gypsy Rose. Without further ado, let's kind of hop into the first section where we kind of just dive into it. In the town where day seemingly merged into night, the unsettling story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard unfolded as a complex narrative woven with deception and tragedy. Gypsy, born to Claudine Dee Blanchard, became a central figure in a tale characterized by fabricated illnesses and a web of lies. Dee Dee's manipulation extended beyond sympathy. It translated into tangible support from the community. Gypsy, presented as a chronically ill princess, garnered charitable donations, free trips, and a fully furnished house. The town, unknowingly complicit, became an unwilling participant in the dark drama. As Gypsy approached adulthood, the facade of her fragile health began to unravel. Nocturnal whispers hinted at a hidden reality, the Blanchard home, adorned with tokens of misplaced empathy concealed in the shadows cast by Dee Dee's manipulative orchestration. In a serendipitous turn, Gypsy crossed paths with Nicholas Godejean, a mysterious figure grappling with his own troubles. Their connection fueled a desperate plan to break free of the suffocating grip of Dee Dee's control. Under the moon's watchful gaze, they executed their escape, leaving the town in uncertainty. The aftermath brought Gypsy and Nicholas into the unforgiving light of truth, exposing the gruesome acts that they had committed. Gypsy's trial laid the bare, twisted dynamics of her upbringing, showcasing the insidious nature of Munchausen by proxy. The once enchanted town now confronted the consequences of its inadvertent complicity in the elaborate ruse. Gypsy Rose Blanchard's narrative serves as a haunting cautionary tale illustrating the intricate layers of abuse and the harrowing lengths one may go to liberate themselves from a life built on deception and manipulation. It sheds light on the need for awareness surrounding conditions like Munchausen by proxy and the impact of communal empathy unwittingly fueling the flames of a dark and tragic story. So that was kind of the basic overview of the story of Gypsy Rose and kind of what happened.
Society sucks.
Society fucking sucks. That Cynthia Copernicus?
What?
Whatever fucking Dee Dee. I can't remember her actual name.
Claudine.
Yeah.
It says it right here on my laptop.
Well, I don't give a fuck.
Oh, okay.
Fuck that bitch.
Oh, yeah, fuck that bitch. Wow.
Yeah, she's nuts. She's insane. So, essentially, since she was a child, Gypsy Rose had been sick and hospitalized and on medication and going through surgeries and procedures and all these doctor visits and things like that, all the way up into her adulthood. And long story short, it turns out that they found out that her mother was faking all these illnesses.
She's a fucking liar.
A liar, and manipulating not only her own daughter, but her entire town and community, doctors, nurses, staff, everybody. Manipulated every single person who was in their lives, basically.
Oh my god, and then Gypsy and Dee Dee, they were living in one state, right? And then they had moved, and when she's still taking her to the doctors, like, religiously, right? Like, still keeping this facade up. But not only that is like when that hospital needs like her previous medical records, Dee Dee said that they were lost during Hurricane Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
So she was just like, oh yeah, we don't have them. Just take my word for it.
Just take my word for it.
And they did.
Just trust me, bro.
And they fucking did.
That's crazy.
Like, and these are doctors. They're in charge.
Medical professionals.
Of your
but
fucking
they were just like
health.
sick.
Wow. They fucked up. They fucked up. They fucked up. Not any, like, much more than obviously Dee Dee, because she's fucked the fuck up. But like,
fucked the fuck up.
Like, as, I don't know, somebody who's in the profession to like make sure people are healthy and in their in their most well-being that they can, they're just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna take your word that your daughter is sick. Like,
right, from somebody who just like waltzed in there. I don't know what was her like professional background.
So I believe she wasn't yet. She was like studying or in school for it.
Okay, so she wasn't even in the
No.
if she
So
if
they're
she was
taking their like professional. They're taking her professional advice.
right. If like she was like a nurse or something,
right,
or like, you know, in the medical field at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if she was like an X-ray tech, and I'm not saying that X-ray techs like don't know anything about medicine, but an X-ray tech would know less about like viral diseases and shit that like, you know, they're
common
right than like, you know, they would about like broken bones and shit. Like they have much more like vast knowledge of like a broken bone than they would about like, you know, what medications to use and what medications to prescribe their kid and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's crazy that they were just like sick. You know what? This lady, no like actual degree in medicine, no like medical background. Like you watched a season of Grey's Anatomy, you know, I don't think Grey's Anatomy was out, but you know what I mean. Like what was out during this time? When was this? 1994.
Oh no.
So fucking what was out? Doogie Howser.
I love Doogie Howser.
But yeah, so went all the way up into her adult life, and eventually Gypsy Rose met Nicholas, and
like a dating website or app or so. Well, most likely website.
Probably a website like Match.com, because that was popular then. But you were telling me that Gypsy had like, you know, different plans and stuff, right?
Yeah. So while I was doing research, because obviously we had actually watched The Act on Hulu, but that's not, unless you watched Mommy, Dead and Dearest. Did you see that?
I don't think so.
Okay, so there are multiple. I mean, her story is infamous, right?
Right.
So I mean, if you haven't heard this and this is the first time you're ever hearing it, wow, where are you?
Where have you been?
But
like if you don't know anything about Gypsy Rose or like the story of Gypsy Rose, like where have you been?
Right. And I mean, I'm glad we're gonna be the ones to like break it to you. I guess like introduce you to this.
Right.
Which, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Because it's a crazy story. Like I didn't want to get too in depth about like what exactly her mother was doing, because I want you to like look it up for yourselves.
Yeah. And I mean, actually, we'll get into this later. Ooh, hello. We'll get into this later, but there are multiple forms of genre. There are what am I trying to say?
Like there's movies, there's TV shows, there's, you know, different kinds of different forms of media.
Right. Yeah. Not genre. It's the same story. Yeah, forms of media.
Yeah, there's like a comedy version, there's a horror version, there's a romance version.
I mean, okay, it's suspense. It's there are many dramatizations of this story because of how incredibly twisted it is. And I don't know, like you'll just see if you haven't already gotten it. Like Dee Blanchard was a cunt.
A cunt.
I don't know. So I don't know if we should get into this on camera, but like I don't really blame Gypsy.
Right. I don't. I don't
Yeah.
at
Like,
all.
I mean, murder is horrible. Obviously, I'm not saying murder should be something that is like, oh, I can excuse that. No, it shouldn't happen. However, in this specific case, I don't really blame her.
Hot take. And we're gonna get into, because we're gonna be talking about a lot of these like murderers and stuff like this. I don't feel bad for Dee Dee one bit.
I mean, maybe more than one bit. I feel bad. She's still dead.
Nope,
But
don't care.
oh wow,
Don't care.
that
Don't
is a
care.
very hot
And
take.
there's a lot of people that I will say the exact same thing about, that we will talk about,
Oh, that is controversial
I don't.
already.
Yeah.
No, I'm scared.
Yeah,
Oh
I don't
God,
I don't actually care.
is this where the podcast
This
is going?
is where the podcast is going. You're gonna get a little bit more. We're gonna get a little bit more raw and uncensored this season, this go around.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't care.
I mean,
Fuck her.
that's really
Fuck her.
that's okay. Yeah, no, honestly, fuck her. Because okay, so Gypsy, and like he was mentioning before, we did a whole fucking wherever we ended up. I don't know, but I was telling you about the 3 different plans that Gypsy actually had in getting away from her mother. It didn't end with death in all of them. This was obviously plan A. So, like I said, she had 3. So, plan A, plan B, and plan C. Plan A was. Do you want to get into like one of them too? Because I did tell you about them after.
No, go for it.
Okay. So, plan A was that her and Nicholas they'd already met at this point, but this is when after she had concocted all these plans. Nicholas and her were going to meet up at her local movie theater, their cinema, and act like it's the first time they ever met. And then they were going to try to start a relationship from there on, acting it as if it's their first time in the relationship, and get consent and permission from her mom.
And I believe that is like that happens in the show.
Yeah. In the act.
Like they actually show that in the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
She does. They do show that in the show. I said that so well. I thought I was gonna like mess that up. They show that in the show. Oh, there it is. I know myself so well. So, yes, they show that in the show, and then plan B was what? Nicholas was going to get her pregnant. So she was going to be pregnant with Nicholas's baby, and because he's the father, she had assumed like my mom is going to have him in my life. Well, I don't know, because I really don't think that would have worked. Because
I don't think
Dee Dee
would
have, if she was pregnant, if she did get pregnant, Dee Dee would have cut that dad out of that baby's life,
right? And be like, oh no, I'll just help you raise this.
Yes,
baby.
Exactly. Because we'll get into this maybe later, but she pretty much made Gypsy and her father like estranged. She took him or never even like really let him into the picture. Okay. And now plan C, kill her mom. So
right.
Oh, and Gypsy had tried to run away from her mom once. It wasn't a very long period of time before she came back or was forced back. And then Dee Dee, and she's Gypsy says this in an interview, but Dee Dee chained her up, would not like let her go for days with very little in her system, like to eat or drink or anything. And when she needed to go to the bathroom, she was still chained, and she just had to go on herself. And that is why, like, when police ask her, or during the trial they ask her, like, why did it have to resort to this? Couldn't you have gotten help or ran away? And she was like, I actually did try. Obviously what I did, like what happened, the plan that I decided to enact only happened because I did not see that there was any other way out of this life.
Right. So obviously a lot of you guys already know that she inevitably ended up with the help of Nicholas killing her mom, and then she got sent to jail. and she recently was released from jail. She's
Yes.
out.
Yes,
Our
and
girl's free.
this brings us into the current event of the week, which is still about Gypsy motherfucking Rose, because she's everywhere, like we just said earlier. Like, if you haven't heard about her, like, I don't know how you haven't, but she is everywhere right now, so that was the most fitting for the current event. Even before you said you were doing the first part about Gypsy Rose, I was
Right.
like, oh, I would do my current event on Gypsy Rose.
Gypsy Rose. Right. But she's out, so
She is out.
Talking
She
about
was released on December 28th of 2023. Recently, guys, she has been out for what?
it was a Christmas present.
Yeah, she's been out for a month almost. So we are recording this on Saturday, January 27th of 2024. She has been out for almost 1 full month, and she's got a lot going on right now.
Can I say too?
Yeah,
that,
go.
like, I've seen so many like TikToks and stuff being like, "Oh, I don't think she regrets, conspiring to kill her mom and blah 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 blah." I don't fucking blame her.
But she talks about, she does really, she
She
has
says
regrets.
it. She says it, but like,
I don't know. Okay, obviously there may be a small part of her that does not feel regret, but for the most part, she still took a life, and that's still meaningful. Like, not only did she take a life of, like, it could have been some random person, it could have been the doctors, could have been like townspeople, like it could have been anybody else, but it was on her own mother. Like, so
Right.
that is, and despite what she's done to her, because she has done, and I like I said, I kind of don't blame her, but it's still a very powerful thing that she did. And I do believe that she feels regret on having her mother killed, like being such a big pivotal role in having in the death of her mother.
Okay.
I do think that she, and I feel like in all of the interviews that I've seen, she seems very authentic on that.
Right. I mean, I guess she can regret that she's dead.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and she talks about in
But
this.
fuck that bitch.
Okay.
Motherfucking Rose. She wrote in her notes, Gypsy motherfucking Rose.
I did. Because the current event is Gypsy motherfucking Rose Blanchard. So she was released December 28th of 2023. We are now almost 1 full month that she has been a free woman. She has a lot of things going out right now, a lot of interviews. Obviously, she is a hot topic. People are just flocking to her. She actually kind of has a cult-ish following.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Like her like actual like diehard fans, kind of weird.
Yeah, they're a little odd.
A little weird.
But I just feel like a lot of that has to do with the fact that people are fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't think she's really causing that. Like, people are gonna be people the way that they are going to be no matter what.
But you know what she is doing on it? Fucking capitalizing.
She's capitalizing.
And you know what? Get that fucking bag.
As she should.
Get that fucking bag.
I mean,
I
a
talked
lot
about
of
it in...
bad shit happened to her, so she should be able to talk about it,
right,
and get the sympathy that she deserves.
It's like, yeah, she just gets to be a fucking person now.
Yeah, and I mean, she is obviously still profiting from it.
Right.
So, and I mean, you should, like, if somebody's gonna make a story, not a story, but like, if they're gonna do a dramatization of your life and what happened to you and all the tragic events that happened to you,
right,
of course you should get paid on that.
Exactly. If, knock on wood, if something terrible happened, I would fucking capitalize off that. I would use it to make me money however I can. Eventually.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, grieve, do your thing, whatever. But eventually, like, make some fucking money.
Right. But speaking of grieving, Gypsy had mentioned that on the anniversary of her mom's death, it is the hardest day for her. So she lets herself feel whatever she needs to feel on that day. If she needs to scream and cry, she said most of the time she cries. if she just needs to like let everything out about like her emotions tied to that day,
Right.
she lets herself feel it,
Right.
and she doesn't try to hide it or be embarrassed about it, because she's allowed to feel the way that she needs to for everything that happened to her, everything that she did. She needs to be able to feel the way that she feels. Nobody should be able to say like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that" or whatever.
Right. And that's kind of like the biggest thing for me about all these people that are like, oh, she doesn't feel remorse, blah, 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 blah. Just put yourself in her shoes.
Yeah.
Like, she
Yeah.
was abused from the day that she was born. She didn't get a chance to be a regular person.
No,
She
no.
didn't get a chance to be a person. She was abused from day one.
She literally was forced to put a feeding tube into her body and only ingest things through there. She did not need that, and her mother had doctors do that to her.
Right. And again, that's why I say don't feel bad for Dee Dee.
Yeah.
At
But-
all.
Okay, so bringing it to the current events, and talking about all the things that she has out there that she is capitalizing on, yeah. There is a 6-part series. If it's not 6-part, it's 6-hour series. Possibly 6 parts, 1 hour per part. But it is a Lifetime docu-series called The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And that came out on January 5th. And then Conversations on the Eve of Freedom. It is a book, kind of like a journal-like book.
Okay.
Stories, letters, about like her being free or leading up to being free.
Mm-hmm.
And that was released on January 9th. So really, like a week after she got out, she is putting shit out. Like,
Right.
the hustle don't stop for her. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you know this. I'm sure you've seen it, but she is married. She is a 32-year-old woman, fresh out of prison. She served 8 out of 10 her 10-year sentence and got out on good behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And she's fucking married. Like, she married somebody who used to write to her in prison.
Which, kind of weird.
Kind of weird.
If you're writing to a criminal
Yeah.
and get married to a criminal,
Yeah.
a little weird. But
like,
you
if
know
you
what?
if you didn't know them prior, because I mean, like, there are obviously people in relationships of the criminal before going to jail.
Yeah.
Like-
Okay. Yeah, for sure. And like, if you know them, if you get to know them like after they get out and stuff.
That's
But
different.
like,
yeah.
actively writing a criminal, and her case was very public,
Yeah.
so you knew what she was in there for. I don't know, a little weird to me personally.
No.
To each their own. But you know what Gypsy is doing?
What?
She's fucking.
She is.
She's fucking.
She is getting
She's getting that fire, D.
consistently, like every single night is what she had said in a post, right?
Yeah. So what had happened was, like, people were like talking shit on her husband's post on it was either Instagram or Facebook, and saying that it's basically saying what I said, that it's weird.
Yeah.
And like, it is kind of weird. And if it's weird, let it be weird. Nothing wrong with it per se, as long as they're not like hurting somebody else. I'm just allowed to think that things are weird, okay?
Right.
So it's a little weird. So people are like, voicing their opinions and stuff,
Mhm.
as they do on the internet.
Yeah.
And she's and so Gypsy gets on, and she of course wants to defend her husband, and she's like, you know what, fuck all these haters, babe. You know what, they're just jealous they can't find love like we have, and they're also jealous that I'm getting fucked every night by that fire D. And this is a public post. And she's like, they're just jealous that I'm getting this fire D every night, and they don't get any of it or something like that. And then I guess he had responded to that and was like, "Oh yeah, come home and get it, baby,"
Yeah.
or some shit like that.
Wow, freaky
And
folks.
I'm like, "Hey, get it."
Freaky folks.
I'm
Good
like,
for
"Listen,
you.
listen, if you're
Good
in
for
jail for
you.
8 years, not getting nothing, and you're just like pen pal fucking,
Yeah.
like, I'm sure she's getting down. I'm sure she's getting down."
Oh, absolutely, and good for her.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure, good for her. For sure, good for her.
But I really just wanted to do my current events on like the stuff that she's like putting out now, and also like that they're all out if you guys want to see more of the story for yourselves. You want to get it straight from her instead of just the dramatizations, instead of our retelling of the story. Go and watch them and listen to them or read them, because I'm sure they're really fucking like interesting. I kind of want to as well, because as I was reading I was like, oh, I want to read it, or I don't kind of want to, I will, but it's like, oh, I want to read it, or oh, I want to see it, but like I don't have time before the episode to do that.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm
Before
going
we
to
record. Right.
I'm going to.
And yeah, so speaking of kind of like media and stuff, we do want to have kind of like ongoing sections on the show and stuff, and something that I have an issue with because I work from home and stuff. I'm constantly running out of things to watch, so I kind of wanted to have like a section on the show of like our recommendations about things that are weird, mysterious, and creepy. So one of the things that I would definitely suggest you watch if you haven't already is The Act on Hulu. This is not sponsored by Hulu.
No, even though
although
we've
if
said
you
it
want
multiple
to,
times now.
If you want to, you
We're
know
just-
where to find us.
We're just promoting without money. Imagine what we could do with money.
Right.
Let me just say.
So The Act on Hulu, with Joey King,
Oy.
is, I think, a really good show if you just want to, kind of watch a dramatization of what happened with Gypsy Rose. Obviously there are things that are like exaggerated and dramatized,
Of
because
course.
it is a dramatization. But it is pretty accurate to the actual facts of the case.
Right.
So that's definitely something that I would recommend if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Also, like, another, I guess, recommendation, which is something that it's a 3-parter, guys. So like, I do recommend this specific movie, but you also have to watch the other ones. So without further ado, if you hadn't seen this movie yet with me, please tell me how much you would have wanted to after this. Ready?
Okay.
So I'm gonna do it to you. Okay?
Go.
Okay.
Hit me.
Okay. Hold on. I'm nervous now.
Okay. All right. Hold on.
Okay.
Taking everything out of my head about the movie. Go.
Okay. So, are you ready for a wild ride into the twisted realms of horror and mystery? Well, buckle up, because I've got a spine-chilling recommendation for your next movie night. House LLC, The Carmichael Manor. Imagine this. Internet sleuths on the hunt for the truth, venturing into an eerie Carmichael Manor, the very site of the 1989 Carmichael family murders. But hold on, because what they uncover is a terror that's been lurking in the shadows long before the infamous House LLC. This latest addition to the House franchise is a roller coaster of suspense. It's the kind of film that will have you on the edge of your seat, questioning every shadow and craving more with each mysterious revelation. So grab your popcorn, dim the lights, and get ready for House LLC, The Carmichael Manor. It's the perfect blend of weird, mysterious, and creepy.
Ooh, that was good.
I know.
That was good.
I know.
I like it. We go into movies like not really knowing anything about the movie.
Yeah.
Like if I see something on TikTok and they're are like, "This is a super scary movie. This
You
is the
stop.
scariest movie."
You
Yeah,
stop watching
I'll
it,
like the video, stop watching it, and then I'll just go on about my day.
and then we'll watch it.
Right, and then I'll be like, "Oh, what was that movie?" And then I'll wait until they say the title of the movie. Or I'll look in like the caption, whatever, and then we'll watch it. Like I won't like look into anything about the movie, and I think that that's how I like enjoy movies because I don't have any expectations of the movie. Like I don't expect anything.
Predisposed notions.
Right. I don't like go in like, "Oh, this is another vampire movie. This is another haunting movie. Is blah blah blah." Like I go into it like with a clean slate.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a haunting movie. I don't know if it's like a fucked up movie.
We haven't watched a lot of like movies lately with like like vampires, like you were saying, like monsters. Like it's always been like, not always. It's been lately more true crime.
Or like a haunting.
Yeah.
And I think I like haunting movies the most.
Rather than like a sci-fi like thing.
Yeah. Well, because I don't see those as like a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like Alien vs. Predator, I don't see as like a horror movie.
Right.
I see it as like a sci-fi movie, and I love sci-fi movies, but I don't think it's a horror movie.
Yeah, no, I see that.
Speaking of like Alien vs. Predators and stuff, we are gonna jump into the next segment of the show, which is the Cryptid of the Week.
Yes.
Lonnie's taking over the reins for this one. So, who is our Cryptid of the Week?
Our Cryptid of the Week is the Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil is a legendary creature said to inhabit the Pine Barrens of southern New Jersey. According to folklore, the creature is often described as a winged, hooved, and horned creature with a goat-like head, bat-like wings, and a long forked tail. Almost didn't make it through that. The legend of the Jersey Devil dates back to the 18th century. The story goes that the Jersey Devil was born to Mother Leeds, a local woman with 12 children who, upon learning she was pregnant with her 13th, cursed the child to be a devil. Some versions of the tale suggest that the child transformed into the creature shortly after birth, fleeing into the surrounding woods. Reports of encounters with the Jersey Devil describe eerie, blood-curdling cries heard echoing throughout the night, leading to speculation about its existence. Over the years, various sightings and stories have emerged, often coinciding with strange occurrences and unexplained events in the Pine Barrens region. So that is our cryptid, Mr. or Mrs. Jersey Devil.
I think maybe, like, pick something, you know? Like, why do you have to have the head of a fucking thing, bat-like wings, like...
Lots is going on.
I understand, like, a griffin. You know, it's like a lion eagle.
Yeah.
Right? Like 2, maybe 3 animals max. But like when you start adding shit, like
there's a list.
Yeah.
There's a list.
I don't like when cryptids have like crazy
so much.
Like so much.
Yeah.
Like just have a thing. Have a thing.
Oh, I know my next cryptid of the week because it just
like
popped into my mind.
Yeah. Mothman is...
He was not mine.
Big moth.
Big moth.
Actually, Mothman.
No, I think Mothman. We can talk about Mothman.
We'll definitely talk about Mothman.
But I don't think he looks like a moth. I think he looks like something different.
Right. The way that he is described, he seems more like a bat to me.
Yeah. And that's all you'll get about Mothman if you don't already know Mothman, because we'll talk about him some other time.
But I think that is all for us for this week. I think that's all we got for you guys. Before we go, I do want to mention that we will be doing something. I do have something planned that I would like to do for the show. So if you do have stories that you want featured on the show, make sure you send it over to me. You can find my Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Instagram and Twitter are both at John_Raymundo. My Facebook is just my first name, my last name, Jonathan Raymundo. You can find us there. I'm running all of our media channels through my personal social media, so the Got Creeps social medias are probably not going to be active. So if you want to keep up to date with the show, head over to my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook, and we'll keep you up to date with the show from there.
Yeah, we want to hear from you guys. Thank you again for listening to the first episode of the second season of Got Creeps. Don't forget to like the video, like the podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and share with your friends so we can reach more people who love the weird, mysterious, and creepy. We'll be back next week with your weekly dose of the creeps.
Bye-bye.
Bye.